Hey guys, it's Dotson with Poly Panda, coming at you this time with Modern Warfare 2 Light. We got the early release campaign access and just wrapped it up, so let's talk about it. Back in 2007, when the original Modern Warfare dropped, I really wasn't expecting much. I was a big Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 2 fan, and always thought Medal of Honor was better than any Call of Duty. I started the download for the game at midnight and left it to run because back in 2007 internet wasn't great. My roommate at the time had started school earlier than I started work, so when her alarm went off, I'd be up. I figured I'd kill some time jumping on the game and called off almost immediately after starting it. I ended up spending the whole day playing Modern Warfare, and I was convinced it was the best campaign ever. Medal of Honor Airborne had just come out, I want to say 2 months earlier, and I thought it would never be beat, but now I was certain Modern Warfare would never be topped. Over the next few years, between Bad Company 1 and 2, Battlefield 3 and 4, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, World at War, Medal of Honor, Warfighter, Brothers in Arms, we were treated to just the golden age of single-player shooter campaigns. But I want to say around 2013, 2014, we kind of started losing that. With a focus heavily on multiplayer, people kind of stopped caring about the single player. We entered into a slump of uninspired and kind of weak campaigns. So imagine my surprise in 2019 when Modern Warfare relaunched and I thought it was just another cash grab, and they were using the name because they were void of ideas, and then they had this absolutely amazing campaign that came along. The game really reinvigorated the series for me, and it got me invested into a Call of Duty for the first time in 8 years. So when Infinity Ward comes back into the fold with another Modern Warfare, I'm there day one. Now this review is on the PS5, and it's based on the campaign only. All multiplayer and Warzone 2.0 reviews will come at a later date, so watch for those on the channel. But let's talk about the campaign. The Modern Warfares of 2007 to 2011 don't exist in the canon of this world. It's a direct continuation of 2019's Modern Warfare, and although it shares the name with the 2009 masterpiece, it doesn't just copy the story. It does copy some of the elements, but we'll get to that in a minute. First up, let's talk about graphics. Graphically, as you can see, the game is solid. Modern Warfare in 2007 and Modern Warfare in 2019 both felt like generational leaps in video games. They were a real step forward for shooters as a genre, and in what they could achieve. Modern Warfare 2 doesn't have that. Don't get me wrong, it looks great, but it's not a jaw-dropping advancement like the previous iterations. The cinematics are amazingly detailed, and there's quite a few times you'd be forgiven for thinking you're watching a movie. The character models, and especially the guns, are all stunning. The lighting, I think, is the big improvement, as well as load times. This time around, with a lot of the maps taking the ambient street lighting to a whole nother level. No one will call this a bad-looking game, but I also don't think you'll see videos in the coming years about the graphical leaps this game made. What they might write about, though, is the sound. The gun sounds are impeccable.
All Bravo, Kilo 01 is inbound high. Danger close.
Air support's on station!
I played using both a 5.1 home theater setup and a pair of SteelSeries Arctis 7P Pluses, which support the Tempest 3D audio that the PS5 has. The sounds of enemies closing in and shooting was always spot on. The voice actors were all great, as is a tradition for Call of Duty, and I have absolutely zero qualms about the audio design of this game. But the important part, which we'll get to now, is the gameplay. And I'll just say, the major problem is this campaign is short. All in, to include going out of my way a lot in some missions, looking for secrets, collectibles, whatever, I logged in barely over 6 hours. It's not a long campaign by any means, but it is a good one. For those who love the original AC-130 mission or All Gillied Up, you're in luck as they designed a couple missions around those concepts. I won't spoil anything in the story, and all the footage you're seeing is from the first couple of missions in the game for that reason, but the story does take you down a good dramatic path, sprinkled in with a lot of Easter eggs and old references for those familiar with the series. It's still accessible for anybody new to the series, assuming you played the 2019 version. I want to say the absolutely longest mission was maybe 40 minutes, but it took some 5 to 10 minute missions in there, and when you only have 17 missions in total to go by, it goes by quick. There was a lot more stealth and a lot less action than we've come to expect from Call of Duty, especially after Cold War and Vanguard over the past couple years. That being said, this is better than those. Even slowed down and more stealth elements, which included a lot of crafting, like Far Cry for makeshift items for a few missions, which I generally don't like, this campaign was leagues ahead of Vanguard and Cold War. But I will note that I absolutely loved Laura Bailey as a voice actor in Vanguard. So in summary, is the game worth buying? Well, if you're just playing single player, it's a great campaign and everything is done well. In fact, it's so polished that the only bug or error I ever ran into was the first mission crashing twice, which I didn't think would bode well, but I never experienced it again. And then on a specific sniping mission, I had a few baddies that would freeze in place when you killed them. So you see a guy standing still at a door, but he was already dead. The major downside is the length of the game. Now, I played the multiplayer betas and think the multiplayer will be as solid as 2019's Modern Warfare, so if that was your jam, yeah, get the game. If you're doing it strictly for the single player, I'd wait for it not to be $70 because it's only probably 5 to 6 hours of gameplay, regardless of how good it is. We'd love to hear what you thought of the game, though. Was it a worthy successor? Does it deserve the Modern Warfare 2 name stamped on it? Did you stay after the credit sequence for that extra cinematic? And how excited are you for what comes next? Let us know what you want to see next. Tune in soon for our multiplayer review, and we'll see you in the next one.